Salter, snap, drops, scans, all kinds of time, looking, now works his way to his right, ripples back, fires into the end zone, touchdown! It's caught in the end zone by Kaden Salter, a strike of 9.
Well, there was the first touchdown by the Colorado Buffaloes. Kaden Salter fouling to Kaden Salter in the end zone. First touchdown for Salter, first touchdown for Taylor. Buffs up 7-0. They end up falling 27-20 to Georgia Tech here in the season opener at Folsom Field. Hi, everybody. Voice of the Bus, Mark Johnson, Coach Gary Barnett. Well, there was some good, there was some bad, plenty of things to work on. What's kind of the takeaway from this one right up the top? Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Tackling?
Tackling. The first takeaway that I felt watching the entire game was that we really tackled poorly, especially in the secondary. I thought up front both defensive lines, offensive line played well, played well enough to win. You know, we played a good football team.
Yes.
We really did. And we have nothing, that we should not be proud of. But we got things to fix.
Yeah,
and that's what you got to do. We got a bunch of new players that all played together with live bullets for the first time. And it exposes you. It exposes you, and you need to be exposed to what you need to work on. Yeah. And so that's both coaches, both coordinators will have a lot to do this week.
Tech had just shy about 460-some yards of offense, 320 on the ground. Do we look at this and say, boy, give credit to Georgia Tech, liability for the Buffaloes in that regard? How do we view that?
Well, first of all, you're not going to see an offense like that again.
Right.
You're not going to see a quarterback that combines his ability to throw and all the different things that they do to you like you did tonight. You're going to see more conventional offenses. This is a tough offense to get ready for you because you can't replicate this in practice. You can't show your players exactly what this looks like. You can give them an idea, but they don't mush you up in there, and then all of a sudden the quarterback breaks out, and you don't make the right fit. You don't get to practice that.
Yeah.
And so, it was just exposure. The first time these guys all played together in this system, and we found out a lot of things that we need to work on.
Georgia Tech only had 10 turnovers the entire season last year. They had 3 in their first 3 possessions. They fumbled twice, then threw an interception. Colorado ends up with 7 points, Gary. You've got to capitalize on those kind of things.
No question. And, Georgia Tech did that to themselves. We didn't make any great plays in there, but we were there to recover. We got the ball, and
you get it. Now you got to do something.
Absolutely, and you're on their side of the 50. So there's got to be points come out of that, and we weren't able to do that. And in the end, that really made a big difference. Not capitalize on something that they never do, but did tonight.
Kaden Salter. We talk about Haynes King being a dual threat guy. Kaden Salter has been a dual threat guy. How would you evaluate his first game for the Buffaloes?
Well, I don't think they really put him in a position to be a dual threat. You didn't see him run the ball the way Haynes King did in that kind of a scheme. I think that there was a couple times when I agree with Coach Sanders that he passed and he should have run. He needs to be the guy they brought him here to be, and he didn't do that. And then what happens is he makes a couple throws that are hard to make. And he didn't do well with them. So, but you can see he's an athlete, and you can see he has a real chance to be a good player. And he learned something tonight too.
That's the coach, Gary Barnett, and the Buffaloes end up falling 27-20 to Georgia Tech here at Folsom Field.
An attempt on the tackle right there.
First down to 10. There's a fumble, and it's recovered by Colorado. Finding the ball was Martavius French. It was a bad handoff from King to his. Out of the pistol formation, high snap, it's loose, it's bouncing around, and the Buffs are going to jump on it, and Martavius French has got another one.
A couple of big defensive plays there. A new linebacker, Martavius French, 2 fumble recoveries in the game. Last time that happened, Ryan Walters, October of 2008. How about that? So there were moments in this game where you felt pretty good about some of the things you were seeing. We now have our sideline reporter, Andy Lindahl, along with us.
Aren't you going to do the French accent for French one more time?
Ooh la la. This is a more athletic football team, isn't it? I mean, when you watch them out there, this team runs well. There's opportunity here. Obviously, things we got to clean up, but this is an athletic football team we're looking at.
Yeah, well, and look, it starts with the offensive line. We heard so much about it. There was a lot of money, I imagine, spent on this offensive line. By the way, Mark Johnson sent me a fascinating article talking about the breakdown at each position, but I think it started there. We saw better protection. Coach talked about it during the game than we'd seen all night. And I still think this receiver group is a fun group to watch. They just all have to get on the same page. Mark, I marvel at this, and you and I have been covering this game for a long, long time. I think we've done over a decade of football together, and never have I...
That'd be 2 decades of football together, by the way.
Okay, 2 decades. That makes it even worse. But never have I seen, and like what we've seen in the last 3 or 4 years, and it really tells you how good Coach Prime has been at this, where you're just hitting reset every year, and you've got a lot of guys that have got to get used to each other again and set the standard for each other again and hold each other accountable again. Now, after the game, we talked to DJ McKinney. I thought the defense played well, but not well enough, and he and Coach Barnett, the first thing they talked about was tackling. So, again, I'm not shocked at what we saw here. Did we all hope for a little bit more? Sure. But you know what? They took a good team from the ACC into the waning minutes of the fourth quarter and gave them a good game, cleaned some things up, and you can get a few of those wins coming up on the schedule.
Well, I was going to say, be disappointed, don't be discouraged in this. The things we're talking about, tackling issues, fit issues, being a little bit more efficient on offense, are not things you look at and go, well, these are liabilities that you can't take care of. This is going to be a very busy week for Colorado ahead of Delaware coming in here.
It is, and then you need to go get this one handled, go get the good win, because this is why you schedule these kind of teams, get everybody jazzed back up, because you don't get preseason. That's the hard thing about college football. You don't get preseason. You don't get to schedule joint practices with anybody. I guess you could try. Coach certainly said he wouldn't mind doing it, and he had a few takers, but the NCAA said no. But again, that's why when in the modern era of college football, where you're replacing so many players, it's about getting a little continuity, and I think they'll get it.
What was your view of Kaden Salter? You're down here watching him. You can kind of see the facial expressions, how he's interacting. What was your assessment of him?
Look, he's a leader, and you could see right away why Coach Prime decided that he would be the guy. I know everybody wants to see the young fella, but Kaden Salter, he's played the role. He had control of the huddle. I thought he had control of his team. He knew where he wanted his guys offensively. He just missed a couple throws, to be honest with you. He had one where they ran right at the DB, and the receiver came right at me in the end zone, where Salter put plenty of air under the football. He had plenty of arm tonight, but he's just got to refine a little bit of the touch, and everything will be fine. But you saw where I had the highlight that Reed posted on our Twitter page, where he had the move. He shook 2 guys. You said there was a couple of burning undergarments on the field. He's got what you want to work with. He's just got to, like I said, maybe get the arm reeled in.
Yeah, did miss a couple. There's one right down over here. He had to Simeon Price that could have been a touchdown as well, and he missed on that one. So things to clean up for the Buffaloes. They've got the Blue Hens of Delaware coming in next week. That's a nice 1:30 game, middle of the afternoon on a Saturday. Gary and I and Andy are going to hit the air at 11:30 out on Duane Field with the Buffalo Stampede pregame show. But Colorado falls in this matchup of the 2 teams that split the 1990 National Championship, and it's Georgia Tech that walks out of here with a 27-20 victory. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week.